Somehow it shut itself off. Boom. Ta-da! I love iPad. It's so much fun. And I'm having troubles with it because I got a cracked screen and they'll replace it. But my dad had it engraved, says Rev Steve on it. You need a magnifying glass to read it. But it does say, and so I was like, it's touching. I was like, oh gosh, maybe they'll do that again. So night lights. What does that mean? Okay. Well, I always like to ask and see if something else is going to download different than what downloaded onto the iPad last night. But what the part of it was trying to make the light be a thing for the whole month as a theme, and I didn't want to go real traditional stuff like candlelight and all that stuff. So that got me thinking, and I came up with the golden hour last week, which I thought was kind of brilliant, even if I say so myself. Praise me, Yeah, that's what the song was about. Praise ourselves, love ourselves. And then night lights came from the idea of what Maggie was talking about. It came to me because of meteor showers. I really love meteor showers, right? But I also, I don't know if I was afraid of the dark, but I definitely enjoyed my nightlight as a kid, And I think that in a way, maybe we are as a species a little bit afraid of the dark. I don't know, were you guys, any of you guys were afraid of the dark when you were kids, And I was like reading some stuff around this talk, and I think I have an idea. I haven't checked this out. I didn't Google this. This just came to me this morning. I have an idea as to why the human species is so afraid of the dark. You ever notice animals sometimes in the dark, the light shines on them and their eyes glow? They have a different lens in their eyes that allow them to see better in the dark. Our eyes don't do that because we can't see that well in the dark, and therefore when it gets dark, I think we get freaked out because we can't see that well. So it makes sense that we would want to have a night light next to the bed, No wonder the boogeyman's under there. We just can't see very well, and then the imagination takes off, and next thing you know, there's something under the bed, Mom, come see, And then they make movies like Monsters, Inc., just to prove that there really is a monster in the closet, I still like to have my closet closed when I go to sleep at night, and I know there's nothing in there. I think it's more OCD kind of thing. I just like the door opens, like, close the door, But maybe between me and you, I should admit, maybe I'm afraid there's a monster in my closet, I love that movie, Monsters, Inc. It was so cool. It's a great film. So there is something to the being afraid of the dark, but the other part of it is there's just such a wonderful joy in the light that comes at night. Those stars that you talked about, I love meteor showers. One of my favorites. I went camping with a bunch of friends during the summer, which I think is the Perseid meteor shower, and one friend, we were all laid out on the ground looking, waiting for the meteors, right? And this one friend of mine walks up, and he was late to the party. And it's like, a big group of people. We were like 30 of us all camping. So there's 30 bodies laid out on the ground. He goes, "What is this, Jonestown?" Because we're all like, waiting. But that's the best way to see meteors, laying on your back, because, and have you, any of you meteor shower watchers? How come they're always over there? You're like, so you need to be on your back. But every now and then, and that one, it goes, that's like the divine idea that you catch in the dark. When you're in the womb of creation, when you're in the dark and you're thinking, you go, boom! It's like the light goes on that Don Miguel Ruiz is talking about that's in our brain. That's the, and then the, those are the ideas that aren't that good. You could toss those away. That's kind of what I got from the meteor shower and the nightlight idea, And for your benefit and joy, the Geminids meteors are happening tonight, an hour after sunset. It's supposed to be the best time to watch them. And tomorrow night too. But tonight's supposed to be the peak night of a meteor shower, December 13th. Happy birthday again, Mom. You got your own meteor shower, your own light show. The other thing that's kind of interesting about this time of year, when you think about light and night and stars, is we get an opportunity to see more stars this time of year. Because we're going to get, we talk about the shortest day. That means it's also the longest night. So we get more stars. In fact, our upcoming winter solstice is going to be the 21st. Pacific time, 8:49, if you're into that kind of thing. When the North Pole is going to be tilted as far north as it possibly can, and the sun is sitting right over the Tropic of Cancer and creating that really long light. So the golden hour this time of year is even more golden, taking you back to next week. And the nights are even more spectacular because we're going to have more stars, more opportunities to let the divine speak to us in the wisdom of the night. Because there's so much going on at night. I mean, that's where God created everything. That's why he started out with let there be light, or she started out with let there be light. You know, the first thing must have been darkness if the first idea was let there be light. What was there? What else could there have been? I mean, if there's not light, then there's darkness. If there's something in between and you don't tell me about it, I don't know. I haven't figured out what that is yet. You know? So this idea of the dark is a really wonderful place to go when we're looking for inspiration and ideas and to allow intuition to speak to us. I've talked to you before about this, how when you're a kid and you're talking to your teenager and you're on the phone in the dark at night, you know, talking to your girlfriend or your boyfriend, it just feels so great to do it in the dark, you know? The talking on the phone part, you know? It's really... See, I know, because I know how you guys think. Because I think that way too, you know. There's only one mind, and everybody's mind went pew when I said that. So I had to get you back. Come back now. Come back to me, you know. Yeah. Now, this is an interesting sidebar. I don't think it qualifies as a tangent because it's written down here.
Let's see what you do with it.
That has something. That could be it, right? Yeah. But I thought this was kind of interesting because here we are talking about the night and how wonderful it is to have these longer nights. But I didn't realize that the seasons are not equal distant throughout the year. Did you know this? That spring has 92.8 days, and summer has 93.6 days, and fall has 89.8 days, and winter only has 89 days. 89 for winter. I know, and I like winter. Why did they get the short shrift? But hey, that's the way it worked out. Anyway, there's your fun fact for today. Take that and amaze your friends or play Trivial Pursuits. Does anybody even play Trivial Pursuits anymore? That one, with Cabbage Patch Dolls, just out the window. On the iPhone, yeah. It's an app now that you play, right? Yeah. So this idea of light and what we can get into the light and how we can express our divine truth and hear the inspiration of the divine. It's something really important. You know, this season of light is not by accident. It's not by accident. And Dr. Holmes is so much a celebrant of light. Look what he says. Every act is an outcome of consciousness. Remember, we talk about consciousness as the first light that came on. Every movement is within the divine being because there's only the one life. And since the divine being is everywhere, it must also be at the center of our own life. So, outcome of consciousness, every idea is light. That's what Maggie was talking about. Light travels, consciousness travels on light. And God being everywhere, this light is at the center of our own lives. So when we're in the dark and we get that light of inspiration come on, we're experiencing the divine. We're getting a download from God. And it's time to pay attention to that deep and true wisdom that comes from that. See, you're reaching into an unencumbered spot. When you get to the God spot, there's nothing blocking that. You know, when you take some funds and you put them in your budget and you encumber those funds are only to be used for that particular purpose. So when you go to the unencumbered spot, that means that it's open to everything. See, when you go into the unencumbered spot of your life, to that divine space that you can get in at night, you're opening yourself up to everything. You're touching something really neat in the hush of the dark. But to hear it, you have to be quiet. Now, we're not talking about the kind of quiet where your mind's not talking. We're talking about a different kind of quiet where you can engage the dialogue and listen to that divine spark. Mark Nepo talks about it when he says, carrying the lantern of our spirit before us, we must enter the darkness of our troubles if we are to drink clearly again from the source. Now he brings up an interesting point. When you're dealing with the challenges of life, they sometimes seem so overwhelming. How many of you have ever said, let me sleep on it? Right? Yeah, I mean, hands is good. Let me sleep on it. That's what's available to us in the dark. We intuitively know that we need to give ourselves a time out sometimes when the troubles of our life are getting us, that we can't see our way in the bright light, in the daylight, in the glare of all the illusionary things that are happening in our life. We need to shut everything down and get quiet so we can listen to the God spark in the hush of the dark. And our songs talk about it. I love Silent Night, the extra verse, love's pure light, radiant beams from my holy face. I can't do that today. With the dawn of redeeming grace, glory stream from heaven above. All these songs that have this light in them, we're called to the light. That's why we love lighting candles and putting them on our altar. We love hanging out at the beach. Yeah, you think it's for the tan, but it's also for, the vitamin D. We just thrive on this light. So we need that moment to get a little quiet and listen for some inspiration. How nice to get the pinpoint prick of the divine light come down on you that can come so much more precise in the dark, like those spotlights that they put out at night and you can just see the beam, reflecting straight up. That can't happen during the day. That can only happen at night. So that beam of direct download from the Spirit happens so much stronger at night, just like that beam that's shooting up into the sky. So when you got your troubles, don't worry about it. Get a little quiet and do some deep listening. Some deep listening. And when we're talking about a quiet mind, the mind's going to be busy. It's doing stuff. Thank God it's doing stuff. And after all, we're talking about working through our troubles, so we're going to the dark to get our answers to our questions. So we really don't want our mind to be shut off. So what we're talking about in a quiet mind, we're talking about stepping back and being a witness to our mind. We're knowing that our mind is working and it's doing stuff, but we're stepping back and we're looking at the ideas. We're looking at the divine. We're looking at our thoughts. We're going, oh, that's a good thought. Oh, that's not a good thought. Where did that come from? Who's that all about? You can do that. You can you can be your own Sybil. It's pretty cool, We have that ability within us. We have the conscious awareness of ourselves, so much so that we can think, who just thought that thought? And then we can think about whether we need to do something about that thought or not. So the important thing I want to invite you to do is when you get into the quiet mind, when you become aware of the thinking mind, you want to watch what's going on. You want to name what's happening, and you want to understand what you're getting through this period of deep listening. Because see, you're reaching to your nature of being in this moment, and when you do that, you've opened up yourself to a transformational, alchemical, accelerated experience of life. That's why I go back to the meteors again. It looks like they're so fast, they're burning up in the atmosphere, they're accelerating across the sky. And when you get that really good idea and you're sitting in that quiet space, you'll know it. You'll know it. You'll feel yourself transformed. You'll feel the alchemical change, and you'll feel the acceleration of that energy that'll pop you right up out of bed. And, keep a piece of paper next to the bed or your iPhone or something or whatever. Journal. Don't let that idea go because it's coming for a moment, Like the story that Johanna tells about the what's her name? Ruth Stone, the poet who writes the poems, and if they go past her, she has to grab the poem before it gets away, These are where your ideas are. If you want to grab the tail of that meteor shower that's going by, if you want to grab the tail of that dust that's burning up the atmosphere, you better have a pad of paper next to the bed because when you wake up in the morning, it's gone, right? That's how the divine light is working for you, and it's waiting for you. It's only asking for you to pay attention to it. You see, Ron Feldman, in the Essential Kabbalah. How nice. I love how God is. Mark's going to do something about the Hanukkah season, and we got Kabbalah today. The possibility of receiving cosmic truths is available at every moment if we are only properly attuned and receptive. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the proper attunement and the making yourself receptive, the receptivity. It happens with a quiet mind that's aware of its thinking activity, right? That's in that space, tuned in. And now you're receptive and you're ready to take charge of your life and to move forward with something really, really great. So the next thing is to move into action. Dr. Holmes, treat, move your feet. Treat, move your feet. That's what you got to do. So once you've got the idea, you've been receptive, you're tuned in, you got your download, you've written it on the pad of paper, and now you're up. It's the next morning. It's time to get into the business of doing something, you see. Now the first thing to do is what Michael Singer says in The Untethered Soul. The very first thing to do is to remember that everything will be okay as soon as you're okay with everything. I love those kind of phrases. Everything will be okay as soon as you are okay with everything. You see, if you wake up in the morning and you're resisting your problem and you're resisting the solution and you're pissed off at life, it's going to be harder to move through it. So just accept that it's okay. Everything is really just okay right now. Think about right this moment for all of us. Isn't everything right now just okay? It's fine. You might have bills to pay. I'm going to take you out of this moment for a minute. You might have bills to pay. You might be figuring out how you're going to warm up your beans for the potluck coming up. We're going to warm them up in the van because I brought the camper today. So that one's solved. But, you might tangent. Done. But you might have some stuff going on. But if you could stop right now and think about it, everything is okay. So when you wake up in the morning and you've had your download and you're worried about your problem, start with this. Everything will be okay, right? Then you're ready to move into action. You're ready to respond to what came to you through the night, you see? And this action is so important. The action is the difference in painting a bird and flying, right? This is what we're talking about. It's the difference between naming the idea and feeling the energy of doing something with the idea. It's the difference between watching life and living life. Remember I told you about my vacation I went on and I was taking the pictures and I thought, whoa, I'm not having my vacation because I'm so busy recording my vacation. So all you Facebook posters, I get it, but stop a little bit in between that and enjoy the experience of it. You're going to live it or you're going to watch it. Live it, you see. So you've understood over the night. During the night you've understood. Now we're moving away from understanding and we're moving into experiencing. That's what the action is. That's the place to go once you've got the spiritual download that you get from listening into the hush of the nighttime sky. Now this is interesting. This is when my talk took a turn. The internet is so sticky. I got on the internet and I was doing nightlight and just kind of Googling and playing around and going on Facebook every now and then and check my email. And I'd go back to Google some more. And when I went back to Google, it came up with tips on night driving. And I was like, God, what's this all about? What's the tips on night driving? Well, then I got in the idea of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. You remember that book, right? Okay. I'm going to give you Science of Mind and the Art of Night Driving. These are my tips that I got from, these are my Science of Mind and the Art of Night Driving, right? Now, in night driving, they say it's really important to aim your headlights. You want your headlights pointing where you're trying to go, And from driving around and bouncing, they get loose and stuff. The headlights get all cattywankered, and one's pointing up here and one's pointing down there, looking peduncle and stuff. You're not seeing where you go. So you want to aim your headlights, right? Now, how does that work from the Science of Mind perspective? Check it out. Focus your attention. Set your intention, because your lights are showing you where you need to go. Set your intention, and then you know where you're going. So aim your headlights when you're doing your night driving. When you're doing your night living, your inspiration from night, all right? Then dim your dash. You're talking about your instrument panel. It's easier to see when you're driving at night if your instrument panel is dimmed a little bit, okay? All right, now, how does that work again? Science of Mind perspective. Dimming your instrument panel, knowing what's going on in your mind. Quieting your mind. Your mind is your instrument panel. Your mind is telling you what's up all the time. It's your gauge. It's telling you, you need more fuel. It's time to eat. It's like all the same things. You're going too fast. Everything that's happening on your dashboard, on your instrument panel, is happening in your mind, telling you all this information. Because what's the dashboard panel anyway? It's just an information delivery system. What's your mind? An information delivery system. So dim your dash when you get into your Science of Mind treatment of what's going on with the stuff you've gotten from your night light. Now, check your glasses. This one was really interesting. Apparently, some people will buy anything, especially if it's late at night and it's on come by now and get two free. These sunglasses, these yellow glasses that you're supposed to wear at night to make your vision better at night, they don't work. But people buy them anyway. So when I say check your glasses, I'm talking about check your authentic self. Live from your authentic self. Don't use some weird filter of your habits and your limitations and your beliefs that hold you back from where you've been going. No, move beyond that. Go look through your spiritual lens to the truth of who you really are, a divine, perfect, whole, and complete being, filled with all that's necessary for the full, most joyous experience of life. It's already in you. It's already available to you, and it came to you in your download over the night. It came to you to tell you what it is to do. So check your glasses. What lenses are you using when you're looking at your life? Are you using the lenses of your past and your habits and your speeches and all the things that people tell you shoulda, woulda, couldas? Or are you using the lens of your potential, the lens of your truth, the lens of who you really are, your spirit lens? And then be a retina spotter. Now, in the night driving, they talk about when you see this is where I got the thing about the eyes and the animals. When you see the reflecting of the animals, you know that there's an animal on the side of the road, and they're probably going to use your headlights to run across the road, so you see that reflecting lens and you're on point to know that that might happen so you can avoid a dangerous happening, right? But from a science of mind perspective, what are we talking about? We're talking about slow down for the inspiration and allow spirit's glow to inform your life. See, those meteor shower lights, those are glowing activities that are calling your attention so you can slow down and do something about them. So when I say be a retina spotter, I'm talking about catch the glow of spirits, divine inspiration and intuition that's coming down to you. Catch that, right? And finally, I got a little biblical here. Stare not at oncoming lights. Now, that's pretty obvious if you're night driving and you stare at the oncoming lights. You know, when you look back on the road, you're not going to be able to see very well. So you want to do that. But from a consciousness perspective, staring at the oncoming lights, avoid consciousness thieves, squirrels, mental things that pull you away. Like, I can't do that. I've never done that. I don't know how to do that. Stop that. You do know how, and great that you've never done it, and now it's time for you to do it. Because something's told you about that, see? Avoid, deal with the grace that has come to you to allow you to have these wonderful ideas that came to you in the dark so you can live this greater experience of life that's coming to you, or just simply solve a problem that was bothering you that you've now got an answer to. Those are the gifts of night life, and those are your science of mind, art of night driving principles. Okay. So, I invite you to listen for intuition's twinkle. Live your life with clear thinking. Know, as the psalmist said in Psalm 139:12, even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you. Darkness is as light to you. There's something so special waiting for you in the womb of creation, in the dark moments of your life, in that unencumbered space where you're not bothered by the illusions of daytime, where you're not getting in the middle of the shadows of your life, where the glare of the distractions are no more. You're just a pure light of spirit, fresh ideas, and a new direction so you can redirect your course. This comes from paying attention to the night lights. Merry Christmas, everybody, and so it is.